I don't know when it became normal to just fake it, to just ghost, to just lie, and just go back on your word like it means nothing. I don't know if you guys have noticed this in 2025. Maybe things have gotten worse even post 2020, but I'm not saying people have to be perfect, but your word, this used to mean something. And I myself kind of live by this, whereas like if I tell someone, hey, I'm going to do 50 push-ups, I'm going to do 50 push-ups. And lately, I feel like people treat promises or they treat their word like suggestions, like commitment is optional. And if you've ever been let down, left hanging, or watched someone change up as soon as it got inconvenient, then this video is for you. So, quick story time here. I have noticed this in my personal life a lot, whether that's in business, whether that's in just my job, whether that's in relationships. I have a wonderful woman now, so I'm not necessarily in the dating world anymore, right? But when I was, it's just people do not keep their word, like straight up, men and women. And, I talk to a lot of people from my gym. I talk to a lot of my friends that the struggles that a lot of men have to just find a woman that sticks to their word is pretty wild. And, even with guys, there's a lot of guys out there that are just liars. And I quite don't understand it, right? If I tell someone, hey, let's meet at the gym at this time, I'm not saying you can't be late. That's different. But like there are some times where people will just straight up ghost you, right? Just straight up, they won't even show. Oh man, sorry man, something came up. And like they act like it's no big deal. And I experienced this a lot when I had my physical service-based business full time, when I had a couple guys working under me. I can't tell you how many times that like mulch would get delivered to a house or rock would get delivered to a house, or I'd be doing a big job and I had counted on these guys to be in there. And like I had one guy who I hired from, basically I met him through a mutual friend, and he showed up the first day of work, did a decent job, wasn't going to complain, paid him well. And then the very next day just no-shows me. And it's 8 a.m. he's not there, 9 a.m. he's not there, 10 a.m. I'm calling him, he answers, he's like, oh, sorry, man, or actually, no, sorry, he didn't even answer, but I called him and he shot me a text like, sorry, man, I'm in the hospital, like total BS. Like he wasn't in the hospital, come to find out, like, because I still see this guy every now and then, like we're through mutual friends. I had another guy who ended up actually being a really good worker and a team member, and he worked with me for a whole summer, and I actually am very close with this guy to this day, and he's changed a lot. But when I first met him, the very first week that we were working together, he showed up 2 hours late on 3 separate times. So it was a 5-day work week. I believe it was Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. He showed up 2 hours late each day. And like I said, I'm cool with this guy to this day now. But do people not keep their word? I've noticed this with workers showing up. I've noticed this with just friends, who commit to plans and then they just, I guess, back out but don't let anyone know. Here's the thing. If someone asks you to hang out, if someone asks you on a date, if someone asks you to do something, I would much rather the person say, you know what, man? No, I don't want to do that. I would much more respect that than, oh yeah, sure, and then they don't show. And I've noticed this even in like the job place, right? Where, sometimes let's say you need something from a manager, you ask them to kind of help you with something like, hey, I need this account or I need a password to this, software. Can you get it for me? They're like, oh yeah, I'll get it. And then the whole day goes by and they don't even get it. Like, what is going on? Can people not just do what they say? Bro, if someone is talking to me, right? And they ask me something, or they say, hey, can you get this to me by the end of the day? And I say yes. I will 100% always get that to them by the end of the day. I stick to my word, right? Do people not do that anymore? And what's crazy to me too is reputation is important in both men and women. But I'm speaking from a man's standpoint here. Reputation is important because as a man, your reputation is everything, right? If you have a girl who is extremely disrespectful, super loud in public, talks down to you, or maybe has a bad reputation, if you know what I'm saying, that can ruin your reputation simultaneously. It's the same thing with your word. Your word used to matter. Your word was your bond, reputation, integrity, especially among friends, family, relationships, or even teams. It's I live by the, at I live by the saying, trust but verify. So a lot of people will say that trust should be just given. I don't believe that. I believe trust should be earned, personally. If I meet someone, I'm not saying that I'm pessimistic, but if I meet a random stranger, I'm not just going to tell them my whole entire life story and, walk into their house and sit down at their table and eat dinner with them. I believe that trust is earned, right? So it's like building a bridge from your heart to their heart or your mind to their mind when you speak on your word. It takes time to build, but once it's there, it connects and it grows stronger, right? So if you tell someone that you're going to do something and you stick to your word consistently, they're going to be able to trust you more. And that's so true. I have a couple close friends that I can trust and that they stick to their word, and it makes me trust them more. And I don't understand why people don't stick to their word. It's even got to the point where, I remember when I was looking for jobs, last year, and I was interviewing. I mean, it got to the point where, the own interviewer was showing up late. I'm like, bro, you're hiring for a job, and you can't even show up to the interview on time yourself? You have no right to come at a candidate for being late if you can't even be there first. That was just crazy to me. But I think there's a lot of problems in our society. I think there's a lot of potential causes of this. Maybe that's the instant gratification culture. Maybe that's the TikTok brain. Maybe it's the whole I'll do it until something better comes up, right? There's that fear of confrontation, fear of accountability. Everyone's replaceable. So really loyalty feels outdated, right? Everyone, it just feels like it's so transactional, right? With dating, with the job market, with housing, everything is just so drastically changed, and it does feel like that true loyalty is a little outdated. And these small lies, these last minute cancellations, these showing up late to interviews, these ghosting you, they're like these hairline fractures in that bridge, and over time you will destroy the trust that you've built with people if you don't stick to your word. And eventually that bridge will collapse, right? You're going to have broken trust, friendships lost, failures. People almost become cynical, right? They stop trusting, they stop hoping, right? It's I believe in Proverbs in the Bible, I believe it's Proverbs, it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. And I actually like this a lot because I myself sometimes, feel is it really worth it? Or sometimes I lose hope, but at the same time, you have to have hope, because if not, your heart will become sick. And God even says this in Scripture. And, when this happens, when you have that broken trust, you have friendships lost, you have these failures, you have people lying to you, it can be hard sometimes to not let it get to you. You do lose that confidence in others and yourself, and you stop trusting. And you're all at the point where, like I said, that bridge collapse, and you're really left on the side of the river wondering why you ever tried to cross. And I think everyone, who's listening to this, if you've experienced some of these things where maybe you felt like people had lied to you, or maybe you felt let down, maybe you felt like either your reputation was ruined, or you felt like there was a lack of accountability in your circle, or people weren't necessarily showing up for you. I would just say that it's on you to rebuild that bridge and guard it. Speak less, mean more. And really say what you mean, follow through, because at the end of the day, if you always stick to your word, right? If you always stick to your word no matter what, you're going to be able to tell pretty quickly when people aren't, right? If I say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym every day at 9 a.m. and I start showing up, and the person that was supposed to go with me stops showing up, it's going to be pretty obvious, right? And they're going to see that too. And say what you mean, follow through, even when it's inconvenient, and surround yourself with people who honor their word. I would much rather have 2 or 3 friends that stick to the word than 20 friends that don't stick to the word, are unaccountable, and have no self-respect, and I can't trust them. Screw that. I don't want that. I want a tight circle that I can trust. And this is, part of the reason I'm building YouTube here is because I want to build a community where people get value out of this and can trust me, right? Because I'm going to keep showing up, regardless if you guys like it or not. So every promise you guys keep is a brick laid right? You can slowly rebuild that bridge. You can slowly lay the foundation and slowly build real connection with people, either in your personal life or even online, in the right manner. So at the end of the day, guys, your word is one of the last things you actually own, right? You don't know if what's going to happen in today's world. You don't even own a lot of the things anymore with these streaming services and like, you know, video games becoming like almost rented through like Game Pass and stuff like that. But like one thing you actually do own is your own mind and your word, right? So, and every time you break it, you chip away at who you are, and you slowly chip away those cracks in the foundation. And I'll ask you guys this: when was the last time someone broke a promise that really hurt you? When was the last time, thinking back, like that happened to me and that really did affect me? Or, you know, even more importantly, do you always keep your own word yourself? Because that's something you guys should really think about. But drop a comment below. Let's talk about it, because if we can't rely on each other's word, what can we rely on?